Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Runway Podcast. I am your host, Gcina Madonsela, and welcome back to another episode. It is episode 20. Smang Mang. Listen, we have been out here. We have been consistent with this podcast. And just to start off today's podcast, I just want to thank each and every person who has taken the time to actually like, subscribe, share this podcast, screenshot it, and really just comment on this podcast because it really, really does something for our brand, for this, we're working, guys. And so we thank you for sharing and just spreading the word. We obviously want to do it more each and every episode. We ask you to thumbs up. We ask you to like. Please continue. That helps us grow. That helps us also take our message further of just literally being a hub and a house that houses conversations about lifestyle, about entrepreneurship, about business, and just really personal development. And so you really want to tune into this podcast today. I am hosting, as usual, another amazing guest. Today, I'm actually excited about this conversation because I've got a feeling I might actually have one of the best conversations in this podcast because I'm sitting with a fellow colleague. I'll call you a colleague because you are a broadcaster, you're a broadcasting queen, you are a radio jock, I will count
entertainment extraordinaire.
Entertainment extraordinary, and specifically, you said that you like the drama.
Yes.
I think maybe that's where we will differ, right? The drama.
No, we can't differ there because look at your eyelashes. Anybody that has eyelashes like mine has the same amount of drama.
We like drama, right?
Yes.
Yes. So we're gonna have a nice conversation. Let's welcome Kamo Moth. As she goes by.
I need confetti. You guys should have
something
they didn't give you the memo. The person that invited me should have known that. Champers, confetti, some hooters, and even Lady Six Pack boys. We like beautiful boys.
It's embarrassing, okay? Yeah. But we will definitely pick our socks up, I promise you. Kamo, welcome, and thank you so much for honoring this invite.
Thank you for having me and wanting to actually have a conversation with me. Every time when people want to talk to you, you're like, oh my gosh, what do I have to offer?
Yeah.
But I guess it's the imposter syndrome.
Do you feel like that though, for real?
I think it happens to the best of us. I think it's part of being human, because especially in this industry, everybody knows what you're good at. Everybody knows the pretty side of you, the put together side of you. But you deal with your flaws. You go home and you take off your makeup and you know who you really are, right? And you know how much work you need to put in for you to be that flawless when you make that first link, So nobody sees the behind the scenes of what it takes to be in the industry, but you know the entire picture. So of course you're gonna fall, victim to the imposter syndrome
But then does that then scare you? Does that not put you in a position to be more empowered? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you show up on the outside, you know what's the truth on the inside.
That's why you need to do a lot of introspection work, I never get scared by things like that. I think, coming from being an athlete for a very long time, during school, primary, high school, varsity, I've always been involved in sports. And no matter how good you are, even if you were the captain or you're the only girl on the team that's playing provincial, you still get the butterflies before that first whistle. You know what I mean?
Agree.
So that's why I'm saying it's part and parcel of being a human. Being scared, having those butterflies is not an indication of the fact that you're not good enough.
Yes.
It's the excitement. It's actually the fuel. I always say I am my biggest competition.
Yeah.
So if yesterday's Kamo is scared of what today's Kamo is going to do, and that's what it really is, because the point of evolution is to always be better than your last game. You're as good as your last game.
Oh my goodness. Jeez, girl, you just took me for
deep dive.
No,
we're back to...
You know what? Yeah, now I'm just vibing off camera. But I'm liking this direction that we're taking because I think... okay, let me start in the beginning before I can ask, because I feel like this is more of a follow-up question, right?
Yeah.
As Kamo, you're in radio, you're in TV, you are in the industry, as you've just said it, right?
Yes.
What were your expectations, or what did you kind of want to always do kind of growing up? Did you always just want to be on TV, be on, a stage, attention, you wanted people to listen to you? Or were you just literally just like me, you saw, I don't know, a couple of TV presenters on TV and radio, and you're like, I want to do that? Where does it come from for you specifically?
Geez, like, so for me, I grew up a very quiet child, right? Which is
Wow.
crazy because I'm such
I
a
know.
loud mouth.
Like what?
But it comes with like discovering yourself as you get older. So I was very quiet. I wasn't the girl that's gonna be dancing on stage at school. I was never going to be that girl. But I knew that I had a certain affinity to the arts. And I think it was fueled by the fact that my dad is a huge movie fanatic, right? Especially Bond. We had, like, he's got the entire Bond collection from the very first Bond leading up to Daniel Craig, who he absolutely hates.
Wow.
He says Daniel is not smooth enough. He's an action guy, but he's not a Bond guy.
Okay.
And so I grew up watching films with my dad day in and day out, and I've always been one hour TV, like nigga wana strata. Strata now, you know. But even now, if I don't feel like it, I'm one of the biggest binge watchers. Like my friends will tell you, I can sit in one sitting and finish a Korean drama, and if you know how long those things are,
And you still have to read subtitles.
and I'm reading, and I'm inside the emotion and everything. So I thought I want to be an actress when I was little, and it was because I watched movies with my father. And in fact, I wanted to be the first black Bond girl, but Halle Berry beat me to that.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and then I think Naomi did that after her. So I guess I'll be maybe the first African Bond girl, right? And then I also wanted to be the first like black Revlon girl, but Bonang beat me to that. So there's just all these things were wired and fueled by watching movies with my dad. But at no point did I think it will ever happen because, like I said, I was very quiet, very shy, not trying to talk to nobody, like not even my parents. I'm not even talking to them in the house, you know. And as I grew older, I think in grade, always played sports. So with sports, especially if you're like at the top of your game, always playing A team, always being captain, attention is always yours when you're playing, right?
Yes.
Everybody comes out to watch you. All the parents are screaming your name out. And I was like, oh, I kind of like this, but not enough to be like egotistic or anything or like think like, oh my God, I'm MJ. But it's where I got the taste of like people really enjoying your craft and just how good you are at your craft. What I didn't know is that years later, after dropping out of different courses, BCom Law to LLB, like I did it all, I was like, yo, I know who I am now. I was 27 when I figured it out.
Wow.
I was 27. That's when I moved to Joburg. I walked out of my final LLB exam and I said, I'm going to go do this thing. And it happened to be radio. And I happened to, it was after a year of doing radio. I was doing radio at a station called CET-FM.
Yes.
And I was doing a hip hop show there on weekends. And then I started filling in for 9 to 12, so after breakfast. And then from the filling in, it became my slot. And then like, this is all in 1 year in 2016. That's my magical year, 2016. And in that 1 year that I'm doing radio for the first time, my partner and I, Verve, we get like best on air duo. And that's what fueled you know what, I'm leaving all of this and I'm gonna do this thing. I don't know if it's gonna work. I'm not really a radio girl. Radio happened to me, but I always knew that I wanted to be on television. As an actress more than anything.
More than anything, right? Okay. And I mean, to some degree, so are you now living your dream? What you thought of Joburg before? Because you've actually been around quite recently. Yeah. It's not like you've been in Joburg for like 15 years.
Yeah, like no, it's like what, years. 7? I don't know, somewhere there. Yeah.
Yes. So your perception of Joburg or the city of gold before and now, how has that kind of changed?
It's exactly what our parents say it is.
Which is?
You're going to go there, they're going to, there's boys, and there's drugs, and people, it's a crazy world.
Especially in this industry,
you know?
Entertainment industry is
fast, you know, like in my language, like my mom will say, but fast. And when you come from a small town, your parent is always a bit skeptical of, you know, if I do let her go, how much control will I have over her? You know, how tight do I still hold her hand? The grip, you know, how tight does it need to be? And for me, I left home and I never looked back. I barely go to Bloem. Like they know, my Bloem people know.
They can miss you.
You can miss me, but not because I don't like where I come from. You know, it's because there's so much work to be done. when you're building a brand and when you're doing so single-handedly with no, I don't have rich parents. I have parents that work really hard, you know. None of them are in the arts. They both academics. I don't have an uncle at the SABC or somewhere. I don't have those connections that could make it easy for me. The only way I'm gaining those connections is through meeting you and these conversations and going to events and someone following you and maybe seeing a post and they like it. We're really, I'm just winging this thing and hoping that it lands, right? And in between that, what's helping the landing is faith.
Wow.
Faith. Because you can have a lot of consistent efforts with no faith and you won't see, because manifestation is a big part of life, whether you're doing this corporate or you're even sitting at home. So like it's just, Joburg is exactly what my mom thinks it is. I think the only difference is she didn't know if I was going to be a kid that's going to be swallowed up by the Joburg lifestyle, or if I'll be able to stand my own. And I think coming to Joburg at such a established age, when you're 27, you're not very impressionable. You know, people can't swindle you easily. You know who you are. You know what you want. You're a grown. Can we swear here? You're a grown straight woman. You know.
Feel free. Feel free.
I was just gonna say grown ass woman. So that was that. I think the only difference between me and a lot of my friends that maybe did get swallowed up or experience challenges that I didn't was that they were here much earlier than me. And by the time I came here, like I said, I was a grown-ass woman.
You're a grown-ass woman, yeah. Oh my goodness, you're just getting me. I want to almost go down that rabbit hole of your other friends getting swallowed up by Joburg, but that's not the kind of conversation I'm trying to have. Before we started recording, we were actually talking about you being a chakra girl, like proper, like in touch.
Sage
like
meditation. Don't touch my phone when I wake up in the morning until after I've done my routine. And that's not always how my life happens. Sometimes I have to, especially if the night before I went to bed and the talking point was that Nandipa showed her face for the first time, then the first thing in the morning, I want to know what happened while I was sleeping, you know. But I try by all means to really just be centered before I can start my day. You know, I wake up every single day at 4 a.m., whether I'm working on breakfast or I'm not. I'm currently not working on any breakfast show after I resigned. But I wake up like I'm going to a breakfast show, you know, and then I'll lie in bed, talk to myself, fall in and out of sleep, just like take my time with waking up. By 6, my second alarm goes off, get dressed, go for my run, come back. If I don't want to run, I do a 30-minute workout on YouTube. Then I do my morning affirmations, so about 30 minutes. Then I always go and I pick a random, like, inspirational, either from Denzel Washington or like Bonang Mateba, Rihanna, one of those stuff that those speeches, you know, when they go to like conferences and they give, and then I'll play that in the background while I prep my coffee and all that stuff. Then while I sit and drink my coffee, then I touch my phone. By then it's 8 a.m. You know, and the same thing when I go to bed, 2 hours before I actually shut my eye, I put my phone away. You know, I don't allow just any Tom, Dick, and Harry into my space. Every time people come, I make sure that I cleanse the space. Light my sage. Or if I don't have sage, my incense, I have different types. You know, I've got my crystals there. I've got my candles. And this is not like, it's not fashion enough for me, you know, because my mom was a Catholic, is still a Catholic. My dad was a Buddhist. So I come from a background that already has things like that. You know, if I don't feel like going on my knees and doing what they taught me at the Catholic Church, I do things that my dad imparted to me, you know, that have to do with like his Buddhist religion. He's not that anymore now. I mean, he's Christian. But that's sort of like the background that I come from. Even if you look at like my friends, I have friends who are Muslim, I have friends who were Christian, I have friends who are atheists. I have black, white, green, you name it. I'm inside.
Love it.
And so I joke around and say I'm a chakra han, not because I'm a chakra han, because a lot of times when men particularly come into my space, they're like, "Oh, you dangerous," or chakra han. We know about the chakra hands, so it's just a joke that I like to throw around. But I think I think I'm just a spiritual person.
You are.
I believe in
You
a higher
sound
being.
like it.
I believe in how we relate to each other as humans, because we're spirits first before we're the flesh. And so that's why I'm not very big on like looking at someone and deducing this is who they are.
Yeah,
you know,
you kind of take your time to get to know them.
I spend time in a space that I walk in. I fully like engross myself in it, and I'm like, okay, what are all the moving parts? Okay, they have plants here, so they calm. It's people that, you know, when you greet,
I like
were
that.
they
You've got
smiling?
plants, guys.
You know, like
Or does
when you
Manu
greet,
Media have
did they
plants?
smile, or were they?
Yeah, did they smile?
You know,
How
when
did they
you were
receive
smiling, you know, how
did
people
they-
receive you.
Yeah.
Also, is the space when
Wow.
you walk in, is it clogged up with bad energy? And this
Nah.
space isn't.
Woo, guys.
So
and
if
we
you're
can't-
spiritual,
can't
you
fake
notice
that.
things like that.
You
You
cannot
can't
fake
fake the
that.
funk. Yeah.
No, you absolutely can't. Is that important in the kind of industry that you're in, entertainment, radio? I think there's so much that I just, there's so many things you touched on that I feel like firstly, my mom's also Catholic. So naturally, also Nami. And I don't know, I think also Nami, I'm also raising my kids in that
100%.
Catholic way.
I'm going to raise my kids Catholic.
Catholic, right? Because I'm just like, they need some kind of that whole, to a certain
I'm
extent.
the woman that I am because of religion.
Right.
It's such a controversial statement to make, because people
Yeah.
are now in the spiritual era of like a relationship is
now,
more
like-
important than religion. You know, like
Yes, yes. You don't have to read the Bible. You don't have to be.
you are the
engrossed in
church.
the
It's about
dogma.
your relationship with God, and
Yeah. You
all
don't
these
have to
other
go to a
practices are
physical
not
church.
that deep.
Yeah.
However, those strict fundamentals that I learned from being a Catholic church
Yeah.
is also the one of the biggest reasons why I'm not easily swindled. Why I'm able to stand for something, because they say if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
Oh my gosh.
Right? Some people need those strict, rigid rules
Yeah.
to mold them to become Kamo Moths of today.
Yeah.
Some people need a liberal hand. We're not the same. So based on my experience, I mean, my parents were raised the same, and they're doing pretty well. I think they're the
Yeah.
best pieces of humans I've ever come across.
Yeah.
I'm not such an amazing human, but
Why not? Why did you mention that?
because, you know, a lot of times when you have a strong personality and you stand up for yourself and you're unapologetic about it, and you're like, I am red, and this is where the red is gonna go, and you're very self-assured, you know.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
self-actualization. Remember the triangle we used to do in
Yes, that
school?
Maslow.
Like when you have that amount of confidence and assurance in yourself, and because people are maybe weaker than you, they get intimidated, and easily you are framed as she's a bitch or she is mean. But if a man was doing exactly what I was doing, setting those boundaries, calling those shots, it would have been,
Then he's a man's man.
he's a boss. That's
He's
how
a
a
boss,
man
yeah.
handles it.
Yeah.
But when a woman does it, you get labeled a bitch, and I'm pretty okay with being labeled a bitch.
Have you been
I'm not going
labeled a
to.
bitch
I
before?
have.
Or
That
vilified
has
in
been
any
a
way?
nasty.
Have you been vilified? Why?
I once worked with someone, and they were a good friend of mine, and I said, let's work together on the show. And just because you're my friend, it doesn't mean that I am your equal when we're in the workspace. As a broadcaster, you know that
Yeah.
the producer is higher than the presenter,
Yeah.
right? And so I don't take too kind to people that think they know it all because they've been in the industry longer than me, right? Yes, you've got your 10 years, I've got my 5, but I'm the producer of this damn show. What I say goes, you know, I'm the one that looks for the guests, the angles, the topics, I am the brain. Without
Yeah.
my brain,
Yeah.
you'd just be a person opening your mouth on the show. And so because
Jeez, I never
they
thought about it
couldn't
like that.
because
Jeez,
they couldn't comprehend Kamo the friend, they couldn't
Yeah.
reconcile the two different roles. They found offense in a lot of my professional capacity, and I did fire them for insubordination. But obviously, there was management involved, it was
Yeah.
done properly, they wouldn't have let me fire someone if I was wrong. And the articles that were written was that I had bullied someone off a show, that I
for
was a
real?
bitch. But the likes of Cooley Roberts called me and said, Nana, you're not a bitch. Okay, you did what you had to do with the powers that were given to you, and there's no doubt from my end that you called the shot purely on a professional basis and nothing else.
Yeah.
So let them talk, it will blow over. And it blew over,
it blew
you
over.
know. So that's what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm not nice because that's what people want me to say, but I know what I am. I'm just feeding to your little entertainment.
Why?
Because it's fun. People like to hear what they think is right, you know? And so let me indulge you a little bit here and now and then. But as much as I'm going to indulge your little gossip sessions, I'm also going to make sure that by the time that I leave the podcast, I've dropped you with some gems.
Yeah.
Because that's not the only thing you heard from me today. You also
Right.
heard some spirituality stuff. You also heard how, you know, I was just a girl and this happened to me. Radio did happen to me, you know, but I was always going to be in entertainment.
Because I was going to ask you, I mean, Uguti, is that important for the industry that you're in? The being grounded,
yes.
the religion, the
I wouldn't say
structure,
religion so
rules.
much, but
Yeah,
I think
I'm also
a spirit
calling
of
it
discernment.
humanity religion.
Spirit of discernment is very,
just
that's
that
your inner man.
groundedness, yeah.
I think to have a spirit of discernment is very, very important in all that you do in life. If you are a human and you believe that you have a purpose on this planet.
Yeah.
Because
You need to
you
have
can't
that.
find the purpose if your spirit of discernment is directing you the opposite direction. And, you know, the only way your spirit of discernment becomes accurate and your intuition, your sixth sense, you know, your spirit man, the
Yeah.
Christ in you, whatever you want to call it,
Yes.
is by spending a lot of time with self. You don't
And
get
it-
to meet the real you if you cannot hang around the fake you,
Oh my goodness.
right? Because when you're sitting at home, before you can even start, you know, unlayering yourself, you are there with your fake you,
Yeah.
with the version of whoever.
my
If someone were to knock at the door, whoever I'm gonna greet that is meeting the fake me, hi, how are you? Da, 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 da. But
Yeah.
sit alone long enough, then you're like, oh, I don't feel so good about. Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know I had the stretch mark.
Yeah.
Oh, that person is skinny. Oh, they've lost so now you start right and you start looking at yourself and there's nothing else bothering you, and then after you've berated yourself on the outside, you start looking on the inside and you're like, oh, literally, if you spend a lot of alone time, you'll get to meet the real you. And often when you meet the real you is when your spirit of discernment starts to clock. It's when a lot of your decisions start being in sync, mind, body, and soul. I don't do anything if
Without your
mind, body, and soul are not in sync. And if they're not in sync, I'll often feel, okay, maybe I have anxiety, but I don't know why I have anxiety. I can't sleep, and I don't something. You're hot and bothered, and you don't know
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
Babe, then spend more time alone until you figure out what it is.
What it is,
You know,
yeah.
don't go and open a bottle of wine. That's not going to help you.
Yeah.
It really isn't. And those are conversations people don't want to have.
Yeah,
But in this industry, we meet so many people, so many energies, so much stuff is demanded of you that sometimes it goes against who you are, the fiber of who you are. But
Ijob,
you know, like
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
there's just so much that happens. It's such, I don't want to say it's a dark world, you know. I think outside of the industry, the world in J, it's dark in itself.
Yeah.
But maybe it's just easier.
Yeah.
Maybe there's more access to us because we're around alcohol and naked people and money, and there's a lot of moving parts that are currencies in our world. And you can be easily bought with the most stupid of things, like I'll give you this show and there your soul is gone. You know you did nothing to earn that show, you know. That's part of the rot.
Yeah.
You know, so I have a constant battle of like, do I do things the right way or do I take, you know, the offer to do a casting couch, you know, and if I do take a casting couch, do I have a right to go to a school and do a motivational talk? You motivate that in because I didn't even earn the job.
Yeah.
I have no idea what it takes to earn the job.
Yeah.
You know, so I always want to just do things right that way, even when I don't want us to deceive kids and make it look like, because I feel like I came into the industry not expecting half of the stuff that's happened, and when it happens, I'm just like,
oh, MG.
yo, like, you know how Rani tweeted a lot of yours, yo.
Yeah.
And I think because I overcame the yours and I'm doing pretty decent, and I'm not falling trap to a lot of the stuff that happens, I think it becomes my social responsibility and part of my purpose to not lie to kids. You know, so I can go to a school and do a motivational talk
because
and
your
say
brand
the truth is I'm unemployed. Like, there's an example I wanted to use.
My word. And I wanted to ask you.
I'm not on radio right now.
Yes.
Right?
What is the plan? And what's going on Go Northwest? UFM. People from this side are going there, and then there's people coming back, shuffling. Okay. I digress.
I decided to resign after I had been a victim of workplace bullying, victimization, and harassment.
Is it?
And
oh my God.
it was at the hands of someone that had done it for years and years and years and years and years at different stations, and still continuing at this station that you want to talk about and I don't want to talk about.
We can pass.
And I got my justice. After 2 years. My parents have always been my biggest support in all that I do. Like, if I tell my parents, we are burning this studio today, they're going to be here this afternoon all the way from Bloemen, we're burning the studio. That's how much they go out for me, you know. And so I walked away. I decided that I didn't want to stay and be part of the circus, because afterwards, even if you're the girl that brings down the monster, there's still a level of victimization you face.
Yes,
you know, people are not mature enough in workplaces, unfortunately, and that specific workplace didn't have enough things under human resources that made me feel that I would be protected against that. So I left. And leaving, I always thought, when people, you know, the radio season, I always thought if someone is not on radio, it means like they're not good anymore. That's what I grew up thinking.
Oh my, okay.
And now that I'm in that situation, I'm realizing,
like,
it's actually life happens to people, and it doesn't mean you were not good enough at the job anymore, or there was something like. You still, if you are Bonang Mateva, you're still Bonang Mateva. If you're Gareth Cliff, you're still Gareth Cliff. If you
still have your gift, you still have you.
I'm not on radio right now because, not because there wasn't a radio station trying to get me, it's just we couldn't agree on terms. There's that too. Because I also think I'm also past the thing of let's do something at half price, you know, because you're new.
Oh my word.
When if I'm giving you a service for half price, you want the service in its fullness. You don't want me to give you half the service. You don't want me to half produce a breakfast show. You want me to do it as if I'm being paid a milli. Right? So I'm at that point in my life where I'm like, let me place some real value on myself. And if you can't meet me at this price, and this price is just like what, a K more than what I was getting paid last year. So I'm not asking for something that I don't deserve, you know. Then it's okay. I can sit at home and look pretty and take TikToks. Then
how do you stay relevant though in the industry?
Because I've got other stuff that I do, you know.
Okay. So is that the
I have my acting stuff, you know, but radio is like my 9 to 5. So obviously financially I have to step down a little bit because I don't have my 9 to 5. And I always say, like, I don't feel like TV pays that well versus radio. Guys.
You love radio.
Kids, if you get into the industry, go on radio. That's where you go make your money, but make sure you do it also.
What about the conversation now about radio, just traditional radio versus now the new media, the podcast setting and all of that? Where do you... Where are you in that conversation?
I think, you know, I've heard a lot of people be like, oh my gosh, you're such a blabbermouth. You should get your own podcast. I've been there, done that, Girl Uncensored. But I also think that what works for you won't necessarily work for me.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
The era of Bola Sizwe, I call them the new wave kids, the internet babies, right? They are savvy with it. They know how to make it work for themselves. And just because the industry is maybe hiring them more, I'm not going to go into a panic and start a YouTube channel because they're only hiring YouTubers now, you know, because I might not clock the numbers like them because it's just not part of my path. You know, I always tell people I'm old Hollywood.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
A lot of the people that I hang around are people that were big way before social media, you know. The people who I've worked with and been mentored by, DJs Boo, Penny Libiani, Thibaut Touch, Tony
And where's Penny now,
Horoge.
by the way? Oh my gosh.
These are all
I'll
people
ask
who were big stars
Big,
without
massive,
no
without
algorithm,
the- yeah.
you know, and these are the
With just
people
the
that
radio.
I've had a pleasure to
So
co-host
powerful.
and produce for, but also some have said, you know, let's mentor you. DJs Boo taught me production. I wasn't a producer at all. I was just a radio presenter, you know. And so that's what works for me, to be old Hollywood. You know, if I started a YouTube thing, it would just be because you guys really just want me to talk to you.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't bank on it. I wouldn't say this is where I'm going to get my money. I don't know how to maneuver like that. So I think that to each their own. There are people who it works for, and there are people who need to stand in or audition queues. You know, there are people who need agencies. There are people who half of the jobs I got I didn't even audition for. I got them through networking because I'm a people's person. I love people. I talk. I'll chat this room in circles, you know, and then you're like, oh, give me your number. Oh, give me your number. And then next thing you know, like, hey, we're doing this. You want to MC? Hey, we're doing, and you know, it speaks to some people when you go to like these seminars, they say that your network determines your net worth, you know. I think my career has been testimony to that. I'm still broke
and
though,
you've done
but
amazing well. You've done phenomenally well. And I didn't mention this in the beginning, because I was hoping we would unpack it in phases. But I see, Guti, you know what? Like, you've been holding this down.
I'm
Look,
trying
I'm
to give
just
you
like
all
this girl.
the stuff
I haven't
that you
even
need.
asked her half of the things. But I think you are a powerhouse. You've done it phenomenally well. Let's just give you your props and you know, your credit where it's due. You've co-hosted with DJ Smooth. You've produced for Penny Libiane, and even stuff for Thibaut Touch. You've done quite a lot of
and
work
now
within the
I've got
industry.
like a show with Naked on SABC One, Heavy Hitters.
Heavy hitters.
You know, like we're on
guys.
prime time SABC
Like, hello,
One,
baby.
You know,
if you don't see how she aligns with the runway, then I don't know where you've been, because this is the runway, baby.
Get it together.
And I'm incredibly proud of you. There's a certain persona that I kind of, you know, when I see your social media and I read your bio, your profile, that I pick up, but then meeting you in person is a whole different energy. And I'd rather this.
What do
honestly
you
speaking.
get when you read? I think my profile is me.
It does. So it does
And my
speak to you.
Instagram.
Yeah. It does. It does. But I think there's more authenticity in having a conversation with
there's
you.
a lot more fluff.
There's more soul
Yes.
in actually engaging with you than just seeing your pictures, beautiful captions.
It's just laughs and chuckles
Yeah.
and trolling on my
yeah. But also, are you intentional about that? Are you not intentional about building even your social media capacity? Because you're big, you're known in your circles and radio. Are you then also trying to?
Absolutely
I know you
not.
said obviously. I know you spoke about the YouTube. And you said no.
No,
But
I know what you're gonna ask me, and I know what the answer is.
Okay.
Don't finish it because now, but this is the answer. This is the
okay.
answer. So I'm all about quality over quantity, right? It's not that I have 1 million followers. It's who's following me, right? I only have 14K followers. You know. You wouldn't think I'm on SABC One or that I've done half of the. If you read my profile,
I'm just like
versus my numbers, you're like, oh shucks, you know, like, but then go see who's following me, you know. I'm not about fluff, you know. And so I would say I'm not gonna go post a booty shot because I want to gain more followers. I'm posting the booty shot because if you go read the caption, it'll probably be something sassy because I'm trying to encourage body positivity. And every time I post a booty shot, I don't have men in my DM. I have thick women that are like, yo, dog, because you did this, you inspired me to do that. You know? And I think, because as much as there's lots of fun stuff on my profile, I think a lot of the people, when I am being serious, I make my point. And so there's never a mistaken identity with me. Like, why did she post the booty shot? You know, people always have the right thing to say when I do post it. And when I had a conversation on SAFM about modern beauty standards, you know, I didn't know how many women felt the way I felt, you know, like I don't react well to men telling me I'm attractive because they've never told me I was attractive when I was growing up.
Oh.
I
Okay.
was just the girl that played all the sports, and yeah, I knew a lot of guys. I've always known a lot of guys, but it wasn't in a romantic capacity or in
Yeah.
a we want to take that girl to our matric dance. It was yeah, sure, bruh. Like, what's up, dog? Nah, I'm not.
Yeah,
Oh, are you
yeah,
gonna come
yeah.
watch the cricket? Yeah, maybe tomorrow. Oh, we playing on this day. And now that I guess I'm attractive now.
Yeah.
Um,
I think body standards change over time. Now it's
also now I'm
accepted
not
to have
crispy,
booty.
but also I'm not crispy. I'm not spending all my days under the sun playing netball. Now you're going, no, like, are you bleaching? No, I'm not bleaching. I'm just not in the sun the way I used to be in the sun when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And ra gola, and we tso go tlhapa, and
Yeah, we
like,
really make up.
eh,
We
yeah,
too-
man, go
we
monate.
too-
So and now when a man is like, yo,
look good and
I'm
attractive.
just like,
You don't take liking to that.
I don't know, I become awkward even if a female says it.
Yeah.
Shaba and I was
But
talking
maybe
about
that
it.
means you need to heal
And-
your feminine energy.
Oh, there's nothing broken in
I'm
me.
joking. No. It's not broken.
And I also figured out what it was as well. Apart from
What is it?
at school,
Were you being bullied
at
for
home.
being bigger?
Oh no.
Okay.
Nobody out there was scared of me because I was bigger. But at home, I grew up where also not a lot of emphasis was placed on the outside. So I get a kick when somebody says you're so hilarious. That to me is the biggest compliment you can give me.
Oh,
If you
wow.
say, oh my gosh, I didn't know you have depth. That is
That is a
woo!
compliment.
Jackpot for
Wow.
me,
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
grew up where those sort of things mattered.
there.
Doing well at school mattered. Whether you were respectful or not mattered. How you
Yes.
conduct yourself mattered.
love that.
And those were the things that I was
So
told
who are your
would
parents?
make you pretty.
Yes.
Ha dilo tse ka mo ntle, tsa mo- tsa ka mo gare di le nice. Automatically you radiate this
Yes.
thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Beauty is not always the
Physical,
physical stuff.
yeah.
Go na le batho ba e leng gore
Kindness
you like,
is
yo,
beautiful.
you'll hear people say, yo, that child is so beautiful. And then you look at her and you're just like, but that's because of what the media has told you what beautiful is. Those people are seeing the beauty from inside. O na le maitseo,
Yeah.
she's soft-spoken, she's got principles, all
Yes.
those little things. And
Yes.
so that was actually the core of why I couldn't receive. But on the face of it, I
love
thought it
that,
was because
though.
boys never stopped me when I was in school.
Oh, I see.
Now I
You've
spend time
always-
with self, and I was like, oh
Yes.
shucks. But also my dad never said. My parents are only telling me now that I'm pretty.
Oh, for
They
real?
telling me I'm pretty so much. They're like, wanaka ikago only American. Like people, how our parents are. Like
Yeah, they'll help
attach
you
certain
out.
things because they grew up that way.
And it's
So
nice.
yeah.
It's beautiful. Now, what's the end game? Where are we going with this? The social media that's coming up rapidly. You said you're not interested in actually putting together like a nice profile for social media so you can blow up there and get followers. You are on radio. You are on TV. I mean, the world is moving. There's AI. There's things going on. Where to from here? What's the kind of? Don't give us the game plan. Obviously,
Yeah.
I'm just saying. What's
I'm gonna give you three
what's
names.
next? Yeah.
If you follow the life of these three people, you'll know exactly
Okay.
where I'm headed.
Okay.
Right? Bonang Mateba.
Okay.
I want to be as good as she is, as perfect and flawless as she is when it comes to her craft.
Yeah.
Bonang immerses herself in her work, and that's why she's the best.
She's the best,
It's
yeah.
not that Mini can't do any better, but if Bonang has to sit for 5 hours and study that script, she's going to do it. She's not going to say, I've been doing this for 10 years, I just need
Let
an
me just
hour
wing
today.
it, yeah.
So I want to be that disciplined and execute to that level of perfection that it looks like I'm just doing it. I'm not thinking. And so work ethic, Bonang Mateba, and what she's built for herself in her space. Second to that, Rihanna. Running your own race in your own lane, still being competitive, but
Yeah.
without becoming you. She's as competitive. You can name her and Beyonce in one sentence without her trying to bite Beyonce's style. She's who she is. She's the baddie, She's down
Yeah.
with the fashion, with the drip, and just being unapologetically who you are. That is your unique selling point, your USP. Don't try and blend. If you're sticking out like a gray hair, so be it. I have no ambitions to go get a BBL or bleach my skin just so that I can be an it girl. this is who I am. So Rihanna for me, that, you know, and just
She embodies
her doing
that.
the fashion and finding other streams. You know, DJs who used to say to me, make sure you have at least 7 income streams. And I think she's the epitome of that. And Bonang is also, you know, she's done her BNG, she's doing Steve Madden.
Yeah.
But the end game for me is to leave a legacy as crisp as Oprah Winfrey. You know, to at the end of the day, I should be able to look back and say, what have I done for my people? You know, she's done the schools. I would like to build sports academies for Black kids, because I think there's a huge gap in, we have a lot of talented people of color, but there's a shortage in coaching, in access to facilities, the best coaches, nutrition, the right gear. And as an athlete, I used to see that what separated me from the kid Gokasi was that I had all of that and they didn't. So just to leave a legacy and just be an echo even after you've gone. You know, for me, it's not really about people knowing me, but it's about aspiring to inspire. I want my aspirations to inspire a whole another generation of people to be great at whatever it is that you do.
Yeah. Oh man, that's so amazing, and there's so much energy that I'm drawing from you. From a, obviously, like I said, fellow colleague. I say colleague because I've also been on radio.
Yes.
Hosted a radio show on LXFM, and I've done a couple of things in the industry as well. And it's so, it's just becoming crystal clear that it's so important to just forge your own lane. You don't have to fall into particular standards, whether it's physically or even just with your brand. You don't have to be a
100%.
brand that's everywhere, that's followed by, you
Everyone.
know, everyone
Spoken
knows
of
you.
by everyone.
No, and
Yeah.
also I'm not mad in that. Let me just be pretty honest. I mean, unless the fame is coming with real money, then I don't want it, Nami. And you've just made it okay for me as well. So you've just validated me a little bit,
Babes,
I guess.
hype does not pay the bills, okay?
It doesn't pay the bills.
I'm not here for the
Because I'm
hype.
also not trying to. I want to do my more runs. I want to be a normal human being, but I
Yeah.
just want to do things and be an impact and change people's lives. Anyway, it ain't about me. I was just saying you've just echoed that for me as well. So I think that's really,
That's the
really
point
amazing.
of conversation, right?
Yes.
Remember earlier we said when we're
yes.
matching and we had no idea, but
Yes.
that's how you know you were supposed. Everything is just like
everything
falling
is
into
just
place and being that
yes.
mind, body, and soul in sync that I spoke of. People's testimonies sometimes are just God's answers to our prayers. And maybe this
Oh my
is what this
God.
was to you. Maybe you've been
Yeah.
praying about this. And
Yeah, I'm telling you, there's too many on this
your
show
producer
alone.
went any, mini, miny, mo, Kamo, and then it happened to be God speaking
Let
through
me tell you, every single guest that sits here, and I'm starting to think, guys, something, every single guest that sits here, or maybe Nami, it's just I'm ready. Maybe it's I'm ready to hear these messages as well.
Yes.
So that's why I'm absorbing everything. But I mean, this has been a fantastic conversation. I love a woman that can stand her own. I love a woman who's unapologetic. I love a woman who goes deeper, who knows who she is, who's grounded, who's got principles, who's got, it's so important, man. Because I mean, these days, I don't know. And also that's why I have maybe a small circle. I'm just saying there aren't a lot of people who are big on the kind of topics that you touch on. People that will check out very easily when we start talking about, a woman and taking charge and taking space, in a particular industry.
The
Having a
reality
voice.
is,
People
with
are
our
like,
platform,
what's this?
We're
What are you
public
saying?
figures, you
Yeah.
know.
Ooh,
And a lot of
child.
times I've seen the conversation about, I didn't ask to be your child's role model, right? But you want
you
to be on a
put
public
yourself
platform,
on a public
you know,
platform,
and with the bulk of the celebrities saying that, I'm like saying, you know what, guys, I'll be your child's role model.
Yeah.
I might not have the 1 million followers,
Yeah.
but I can guarantee you, your child can come to my house and you wouldn't lose one night of sleep. I think that's important.
That's how I feel as well.
I think,
and that's why I can
we
be
are not
super
our
strict.
jobs.
Can
We're
you
not
also
our
be? Are you
jobs.
also like super
You're
strict?
Nike strict and my
I'm
mom is
very
strict,
strict.
and you're
I'm also very strict. And as much as I laugh and I'm bubbly and I'm energy and you can think, but I'm actually very, very strict. And this is what also keeps me also insane. These things, the strictness. Otherwise, guys, this industry, She's namhlanje kusasa uvuke awunaniksi, but that's neither here nor there. Maybe it's also a conversation for another day, hey?
Maybe. Aluta continua.
Aluta continua. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us once again on this amazing conversation we hosted with Kamo Moth. She's an absolute darling. She's a media personality. She's in radio, television. She's literally doing the most out here. And if this kind of content is what you like, then please give it a thumbs up. Tell people about this podcast. Tell people about Ukamo and the ways of work that she does, guys. Obviously, a passion is what is leading, I believe, your journey. And you know what? I love the fact that it was just so authentic. And there's definitely some gems to pick up from here. So make sure that you share it with people. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And then remember that this podcast is in partnership with Opulentia. It is a luxury perfume brand. They do candles, they do reed diffusers, and today I'm actually wearing one of their scents. I smell good, Kamone.
It's just a pity they didn't get me like a little goodie bag. Hey,
No, we are.
Opulentia.
Oh,
please,
gosh.
I'll be
No,
waiting. I'll give her my address because she does smell good, and I want
You
to smell
will
as good as
definitely,
you.
you will definitely get something from us. It should be like that though. Like, I mean, we are partners, and also we do shoot this podcast at Manu Media Studios. So make sure that you connect with them as well. Follow them on their pages, and really just follow this runway movement. We love to hear from you, but from me to you for now, it is all. It's nothing but love. Cheers, guys.